name is Frieda. I'm going to host this webinar. Very excited to be here this afternoon. I don't actually know any of the speakers, so this is very exciting for me. I think I'm going to learn a lot. We're going to be joined by, and I'll try my best to pronounce it, Ghassan from Burin Village, who is a community activist and land and farming cooperative coordinator. We also have Hannah Schaefer from Cardigan in Wales, who was on the global Sumud Flotilla. And then we've just been joined by Saeed Cesar, who is who does program development at Holy Land Trust in Bethlehem, and who believes that theater is a weapon, and through acting, dancing, and putting on productions, performers can use their voice and their skills to tell their stories without being rejected or ignored. So yeah, three very exciting speakers. Please do ask questions in the Q&A box that should be fairly visible in the lower edge of your screen. And then at the end, once all the speakers have spoken, we're going to take your questions. So yeah, please ask away. And I think without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Ghassan.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate that. First, my name is Ghassan Najjar. I am from a small village called Burin, south of Nablus. Burin famous for the settlers attack. The most village it's get attacked in the olives harvest this year. We work for different things, but I will kind of focus for the olives harvest and the international solidarity. And I will kind of focus also for the settlers attack and the way they're using against the Palestinian farmer. First, if we're talking about like the settlers now, they are very, very organized. They're supported by the government, and also they are have like many organization now. They're starting like not just like about the olive harvest or they attack the olive harvest. No, I think we have misunderstanding when the settlers attack the people here. The attacks start like for a long time ago. It's not about like after October 7. It's like before the October 7, a long time ago, as I said. The settlers try hard like to kick the farmers out from their land. I'm talking a little bit about the villages who's just south of Nablus or in Ramallah area because I was the main coordinator for the campaign. It's called Baqa and the campaign called Zaytoun 25. So we document all the settlers attack. Now the settlers and the army focusing for the international people more than the Palestinian people, especially in this season. We document like around like 20 attack for the people who's coming to solidarity with the Palestinian farmer. And if you want to talking about exactly what the attack, the problem not when they attack the Palestinian when they're picking olives, the problem after that, like after they attack the land, they have a special group who's coming in the night just to put poison and at the trees and cutting and burning the trees. The most dangerous things we're facing now, it's the poisoning, because when they put the poison at the trees after 24 hours, it's like become like burning, and also the soil it's killing. That's like when we make the test with the Minister of uh, Agriculture, not agriculture, sorry. Yeah, Agriculture Ministry. Yeah, they make the test about the soil. It's called like we need 10 years until we start like plant again. This is until now we don't know exactly what the white border they put it in the land. In this year, just in olives harvest, in 1 month ago, we lost more than 1,000 of olives tree by poisoning, cutting, and by burning the trees. And the other things, there's a group called Top Hill Youth, I think. Yeah, Top Hill Youth. They are supported by Ben Gavir and Smotrich. And most of the weapons they sent to the settlers in West Bank, it's going for this group. This group, really very organized, and they support by the government directly, and they support by the army. The problem now, it's not just when the settlers attack. The problem also, they are very organized with the army because they complete each other. And before October 7, when the settlers attack the villages, you can see the army coming to protect the settlers. And they're throwing tear gas and all using all the weapons against the Palestinian people. But now you can see they organize together. Settlers and army attack the Palestinian people together. We're talking about like more than 60% from the all of the trees in the West Bank. It's not picking yet because like military areas and also settlers attack and the executes that they said we are under the law, war law. In the West Bank, the army using like two law, and this is what we have to know about it. Military law, it's using against the Palestinian people, and the international law was used against the international people and the settlers or the Israeli citizen, as they say. When the army bring the map and said this is military area zone, most of the land it's making military area zone, it's area B, and it's supposed to be like under the Palestinian Authority control. Yeah, and they say in the map that's like it's forbidden from the international people and the settlers to come to the land. But when we ask them, okay, we are Palestinian, and they say, yeah, but we are under the war land or war law, and you're not allowed to be in the land. This is one side. And the other side, if you want to talking about like how they're using the campaign against the international, it's the funny things they have a special group who working in the well in the media things. And they called about the international people who's coming to support the Palestinian people here. It's garbage of international. Like they're using this word many times. Just like 3 weeks ago, when they arrested like 34 international people in Burin and they deport them. Yani they're supposed to be like in the court after 24 hours, but they take the decision for deportation for in the bus when they are in the bus. Like the international people, they didn't see the judge. They just take them to the police station, interrogate them as they are working with the terrorist organization. This is the excuse, and they're making problem with the settlers. But after we're looking for the Israeli media, we see like Ben Gavir write about them, and Yusuf again, who's the mayor of the settlement in Nablus area, write and say like the police should like arrest these people because they're taking Israeli land, all of that. Yani they try hard to pressure the Palestinian farmers to not go to his land. But I think we are stubborn more than them because we are try hard and we're going every day to our land because we make other campaign, not the olives harvest campaign, other campaign called if you can't pick your olives, you can drink coffee under the tree. And this is how we're working now. We don't need to pick olives, but we need to go every day to our land to drink coffee, small things, just to let them know that we are not leaving our land. Most of the people like things as a farmer, we are like just crying for and we need a production. No, I will say to you that clearly. As a Palestinian farmers, I am farmers. I'm working in the land. We are not weak. We are the most like strongest people in the world. We're not crying for the help. We're not crying for like for production. No, when we ask the international people to come in and be with us, because we need them to be part of our community and we need them to be part of our struggle, not just to come and product us. We can product ourselves, by the way, and we can pick our olives also. And I'm not waiting like people from France or United States or Canada coming to pick my olives. I can picking my olives. Sorry to say that. But the international people, our solidarity, like the solidarity here, it's like we need the people coming to leave our suffering and to touch our suffering and to be part of this struggle. We need to fight like hand by hand together against the injustice, against the Zionist people who try to kill everything in the ground. That's the real the reality for the solidarity. I'm not asking people to come in to defend me. I can't defend myself. We are like Palestinian people, we have experience with the struggle and we know how to deal with the settlers, with the army, all of that. But as international people who think he's coming to be hero here, I said to him, like, sorry, Yani, we don't need you to be hero. We have enough hero. If you want to be like to fight with me and be part of this struggle and part of my community, you are welcome. I will gonna give you one room of my family and stay with my family. That's the real solidarity and that's the real like fighting for freedom. Other things like, yani, I heard many people say like we need peace. For me, I don't want peace. I want freedom because like without the freedom, there is no peace. Really. Yani, People like treat us like we are just weak people and we need like to cry for them to give them some peace. No, no, I don't want peace. I'm fighting for freedom. I'm fighting to save my dignity. I'm not fighting like to have peace 1 year or have like ceasefires like what happened in Gaza. The genocide until now continue. Where is the peace for the people? No, the reality is that the Palestinian people and especially the Palestinian farmers who always facing the challenge, facing the attack, we're fighting for freedom. We're not fighting for peace. After we have freedom, the peace coming alone. We don't need anyone to give us peace. We can bring the peace after we have our freedom. That's what we need. Yani, we don't need like to say like always the Palestinian people like lose his land and his trees. Maybe we lost a lot of trees. We lost a lot of like land in West Bank for the settlement, but we still fight. We still have a breath to fight. Maybe our struggle can like spend 100 years or 200 years. If we don't have like long breath, I think we have to travel to other state and see our life. But here you can see the farmers daily life have a struggle and fighting for them dignity because the dignity related to the land. And I don't think anyone can live without dignity. That's our fighting, the dignity for freedom. We're not fighting for peace. We're not crying for anyone to give us like the freedom because we know that the freedom taking, not giving. No one can give you freedom. And the occupation in your mind. It's not like when you are walking in the street and there is no checkpoint that you have freedom. No, all of the world like under occupation, under the capitalism occupation, and in their mind always thinking about how to work and how to get money and how they surrounded us as a capitalism people. We are all like living under colonialist state, if not like military colonialist, you're living under government colonialist state. Your government also it's occupation. That's the fact in the ground and in the life, our life. I think the situation here, yeah, it's very complicated in West Bank, especially in my village, because we're surrounded by three legal settlements, the most violent settlement in West Bank. And usually we receive every day more than 30 to 50 like tear gas in the village. And like we have many people get injured, many people get arrested. But we still have breath. We still have hope as a Palestinian people. We still like see there's real people who's coming from outside to be part of our struggle. That give us energy to continue struggle because we feel now we are not alone. This year we received more than 150 volunteer from outside. This is the first year we receive this large of number. That means we are not alone. So I think yani, we can like with the international people and Palestinian people to make like I don't want to say organization. I hate to say organization. I'm gonna say like to make one step to know exactly what we need to do in the future because we tired from the reaction. We need like the doing. We need like to move one step, not always the reaction. When the settlers attack, we should have reaction. No, I think we need like to have really program together to tell all the world that there is a freedom people who's working the ground and not just the Palestinian people who's under occupation fighting alone. No, there is a lot of people that's fighting. We don't need also in the West Bank waiting like to have a genocide like what happened in Gaza and waiting like 90,000 martyr to be in West Bank until the people like stand up and start fighting for West Bank or start like have the solidarity with the West Bank. I think يعني I finished my time.
So, yeah.
Okay, خلاص.
Anything else you want to say? Any final words?
يعني I think we should have like solidarity and struggle program all together, and we should have like committee in the ground to do all this activity. The struggle it's not just like if you like carry weapons and fighting. The struggle also now the smiling in the street when you are under attack for us it's struggle. So I think we should work for a program.
Thanks so much. What a starting speech. That was very powerful and very moving. Thank you. I'll pass on to Hannah next.
Yeah, thanks, Frieda. And yeah, thanks, Ghassan, for your talk. Yeah, it's like I've heard a little bit from people about what's happening in the West Bank, and yeah, it's like it's like, yeah, it really illustrates the point that that international action is really needed urgently. So yeah, I took part in the Sumud Flotilla in September, which is just the latest step in 18 years of trying to break the illegal siege that Israel puts on the Gaza Strip. And like I came to the Sumud Flotilla as a sailor, not as like an organizer or yeah, as like having been involved in the like the Palestinian solidarity for any length of time. Like I came from a background of climate activism. So like I came as somebody who's an activist, and because I'm a sailor, it was like when I found out about the flotilla were looking for people to join the boats, then it felt really good to be able to actually try and do something practical. So it felt like a real privilege to be part of like of the flotilla, like being part of such an international action, like being on the boat with like 500 other people. And I think if for me, one of the like most important things of participating in the flotilla was like I know a lot of people who live round by me in West Wales who feel really powerless, and it makes them really ill. Like it really affects their mental health, feeling like they can't do anything to affect what's happening in the world. And so it felt like really good to be able to try and be a part of a movement to catalyze, like as a catalyst to try and spark people's people's imagination and people's realization that they can make a difference. So you know, like the people maybe who go to the West Bank are making a difference there, however small that might feel in terms of like global politics or whatever, but it makes a big difference to the people on the ground, but also to yourself and to people who know you. And through that, it makes a big difference in the world. So like I was lucky enough on my boat. My boat was part of my boat was part of was being organized by the Colombian delegation, and President Petro in Colombia is trying to instigate like a movement to try and halt the advance of the genocidal entity that is the US, Israeli, UK, Western axis of evil. I would that's my best way to describe it. Who are emboldening people people around the world, like in the right wing, like in the UK, it manifests as people attacking asylum seeker hotels. In the West Bank, it manifests as settler attacks and the army joining in, and it is coordinated, and it's, you know, it manifests in the United States as ICE, and it is going on around the world. So it's important that people step up, and like one of the things that I picked up from in the flotilla was how it kind of sparked the international movement. So as well as captains and crew, which I was part of, they took a lot of people on board who were involved with media, and also a lot of politicians. And through the work that they did, like there was the dock strike in Italy, I think, was a big thing, and there was a general strike in Italy, and because of that, there were mass demonstrations in Spain and other countries in Europe and around the world. In fact, I know there was a big demonstration in Cape Town. I've got family down there, and they sent me some pictures. So I think that frightened Israel, and they kind of shifted from threatening to take us out and bomb the flotilla. In the end, they they picked us up, and they got rid of us as quick as they could, which sounds like what they're doing in with international people in the West Bank. So obviously international people make a difference in the struggle. So I'd there is another flotilla planned. The global flotilla is planning to go again, I think, in the spring when the weather improves. But in the meantime, I think there's a lot of plans to try and get some stuff going on the ground. And there are like lots of other solidarity movements around the world. I don't have links to them all. What I do have is, and I'll put it in the chat when I've finished speaking, is a link to President Petro's speech. So he gave a speech in the UN, after which his visa was revoked. But he gave an even better speech outside, which unfortunately I haven't managed to find on YouTube. But I'm going to put a link to the full speech from the UN, and I think it's worth watching because our struggles are all linked. And as President Petro pointed out, if the people of the world don't act now to stop what's happening, not just in Gaza but across Palestine, and to stop the genocide on the Palestinian people, then Palestine will happen all around the world. Because it is, you can see it creeping out, and we're at a crossroads now, and we can choose the path of humanity and solidarity, or we can choose the path of destruction and hatred and death. So yeah, on that note, I'm just going to finish.
Thank you so much, Hannah, and thanks for that call to action at the end. Yeah, also great to see that questions are starting to come in. We've got a couple for Hannah. Please keep them coming during Said's speech, and then there will be plenty of time for questions at the end. So Said, over to you.
Yes, hello. So thank you for hosting us. Thank you, Hannah, for what you've done. It's really amazing to hear that you were there on a flotilla. Ghassan, shukran. Thank you for what you have contributed. So my name is Said. It's Arabic for happy. I am from Bethlehem. And my family has resided here in Bethlehem's old town for the last 800 years. So I am authentically Bethlehemite Palestinian Christian. I grew up here. I finished my studies here, and I've always been an artist. I'm a playwright and a director, as well as my master's program was in alternative/political tourism. So maybe like to conclude my words in 10 minutes, which is hard for me because I really speak a lot, and once I start, I don't stop. So please, Frieda, stopwatch. Yeah, maybe my contribution in this little talk would be about like the situation in the West Bank, which like I know how much the genocide and how much is the suffer was in Gaza, but like the Israeli system always makes its way out and competes the time. We have experienced this very well during COVID-19. Because there was no movement, we didn't have any international presence in here. So Bethlehem city, which has already lost 68% of its historical lands since 1967, it has lost 75% until today, especially during COVID-19, with more of settler colonialism. I am against the terminology of conflict to start with, because a conflict can happen between a wife and a husband. What we have in here is not even occupation; it is settler colonialism, and it proved itself during this last genocide, where it showed us that the whole world is occupied by Israel, but not the Palestinians yet. So I do, I work for Holy Land Trust, and it's a local NGO. And if you're not familiar with the Palestinian NGOs, they do cover and fill the gaps of the failure of the Palestinian Authority. So we do have laws of interventions in Area C. And if you're not familiar with Area C, the Oslo Agreement, which had to finish in 5 years of a time, has basically divided the West Bank into 3 main areas. Area A, which is fully under the Palestinian administrative and security control, and it shapes 10% to 11% precisely of the West Bank. Area B, which is basically the suburbs and the surroundings of the Palestinian main cities. And Area C, which is fully under the Israeli administrative and security control, which shapes 68 to 72% of the West Bank. And here comes our intervention. To add to what Ghassan has mentioned, in the West Bank we have been experiencing ethnic cleansing since 1967 until the moment. It really started in 1972 until the moment where the Israeli settlements have been growing all around the West Bank. Some settlements are elite, which means when Israel brings their American, French, British settlers, and they place them into beautiful settlements that has low taxes for sure, just to motivate them to come. But what we have been experiencing since the radical settlement government that has been ruling, including Smotrich and Ben Gvir, is random settlers that are doing what they are doing in the West Bank, including killing people, and including confiscating more and more lands. Traveling around the West Bank is not pleasant anymore. Definitely not, because of the thousands of iron gates that close every Palestinian city, village, and the outposts, which are illegally, that are implemented by the radical settlers in the West Bank. 2 days ago, I was in Masafer Yatta, the southern Hebron Hills, which we work very directly with. And there was a settler that replaced the settler that has killed one of the Palestinian peace activists, Aoudi Hadalin, which I love to mention his name because we are not numbers. He was replaced by another radical settler who was dancing on a grave of Al-Hajj Sulaiman, who was smashed by an Israeli bulldozer back in 2017. And definitely you cannot do anything. You cannot even prevent those settlers to do whatever they do, because they will claim attack, and then the Israeli police, they will basically stand with them, and the whole community can be evacuated. What we are experiencing at the moment is, for me, is a final test for everyone, including you all, because we can see that that the Zionist project is taking over. Your governments have done nothing about the genocide while it was happening. They were really supporting it and funding it. I don't blame the people. What I have seen in Europe, the US, Australia, and parts of New Zealand during the war was like really gave me some hope, because the youth that have demonstrated against this genocide and against Zionism, they will be tomorrow's leaders. But in the meantime, until we reach then, there will be no more Palestine. Speaking of two-state solution is dead already, and we know this. And like the international governments are, you know, like they had to do something about it since 1967, not today. Recognizing the state of Palestine, I was there for the Paris Peace Forum, including a meeting with Macron. We do not know. You know, when France, the UK, Australia, Canada, and many other countries that have recognized the state of Palestine, we do not know what those borders were actually. We do not know if it's only Area A in the West Bank, or is it like the 1967 borders. The Palestinians have been left alone. And what's happening in the West Bank, as we see in Jenin area, for instance, if you have not heard of Jenin, the whole area of the Jenin refugee camp has been emptied for the last 4 or 5 months. The people are refugees within their same city. You know, they were refugees in 1948, moved into Jenin refugee camp, and now they are refugees within the city. The whole refugee camp is a military zone where people can never go back to their homes, and we already know about the coming project, which basically aims to end the existence of any refugee camp in the West Bank, which means basically integrating the refugees within the cities and ending any idea of any potential to talk about the Palestinian refugee issue. Putting it in other words, you know, we have experienced and we have seen clearly what Israel has been doing in Gaza, but during that, other things were happening in the West Bank. During this genocide, 15,700 people were arrested in the West Bank under what they call administrative detention, which means even if you write something which includes a comment on Facebook that you support your people, or you just comment on something horrible that has happened, you can be taken into administrative detention, which starts with 6 months and can take over to 10 years and sometimes even more. More than 1,001 people were killed in the West Bank by the Israeli army, including 213 children. But we are being systemized of, if we read it on the news or if we don't, Palestinians have always been numbers. So my call here would be, you know, I work a lot in advocacy. I go a lot on speaking tours, and we speak to the international community. But even what happened during the Gaza war is not enough for us. All those millions of people who went down to the streets, this is not enough for us, because it did not start in October 7th. Because many people claim it to have happened then, as if everything was okay in Gaza before October 7th, as it was really okay in the West Bank since then. It's never been like this. Gaza has been closed completely since 18 years. And my question will always be, put a cat in a box. That takes me away of the question of, do you condemn or what your thoughts are? Just put the cat in a box, you know? And in the West Bank itself, we have been experiencing settler colonialism since 1967, 1972, until this moment, where in areas such as Bethlehem, we do not have any access to green areas anymore. We had two main green valleys that really, like, they people have ownership to them, the Christians of Bethlehem area. And valleys were confiscated in the last war. And we found the name of the Zionist group that is doing this, and they're building a settlement in Al-Makhrur Valley, for instance. Their slogan on their Facebook page, which I can also send to Frieda, and you can send it to anyone, their slogan is, "We are here to protect the land of the Arab invasion," as if we taking you from. That's my great grandparents' room. It's 420 years old, and you know, like, if you say, like, you know, a land, you know, like an empty land, basically a land with no people, for people without a land. That was the biggest mistake that everyone has unfortunately agreed with. And yes, now we do not know what the agreement to Gaza includes, where the Palestinian Authority was not part of it. Our president was not part of the talk anyway. So I believe, you know, we don't know what the project would be in Gaza, turning it into resorts, and in the West Bank, it's only a matter of time until people take a real step and walk with us.
You finished?
You asked me to wrap up, so I wrapped up. I can speak until
I did ask you to wrap up. Thanks so much, Saeed. Really appreciate you sharing all of that. Okay, we've got like 10 minutes left to answer a couple of questions. Thanks so much for everyone who sent questions. So one has sort of partly been answered, but I thought maybe other people have the same question. So Hannah, maybe if you just briefly want to speak to the question of whether another flotilla will be setting sail soon.
Yeah, sure. So after the Sumud Flotilla, the Thousand Madeleines flotilla set sail and arrived about a week after us. I think, like, no sooner did they let us go than the prison was full of sailors again. But I think they were sending another flotilla this month, but I'm not sure what's happened with it. The weather in the Med this time of year is not the best for sailing. So I know the GSF are making preparations now to send another flotilla in the spring. However, we're all aware of how desperate the situation is, not just in Gaza, but in the West Bank as well, and how you know, the ceasefire is not a ceasefire, and you know, the attacks on the Palestinian people right across Palestine it is really desperate. And so I know there's a lot of people organizing to try and take more action. So, but there will definitely be another big flotilla in the spring.
Brilliant. That's good to know. Thanks, Hannah. I also just remember, Saida, I think you mentioned the Facebook link. If you want to share that in the chat, that's very welcome. Or if you can't find it right now, you can send it to the organizers later and we'll make sure to send it out to everyone. There's a question which I think is directed at you, Said and Ghassan, which is, what actions from activists in the West would you like to see most? What do you think would be the most helpful at this time?
Um, for me, it's the now is the time for people to come. I can really see like a great potential of all the movements that have taken place all over the world by youth, and I believe there will be a time now where more and more people are interested to really see it for themselves and come to see it. For me, to stand in solidarity includes coming here, standing in protection for the people. Ghassan has mentioned the olive harvest season, which is something national and sacred at the same time. And the Palestinian farmers in this olive harvest season, most of them, more than 80% of them, they could not make it to their fields because they want to protect their kids. They do not want their kids dead. You know, we don't like this. If people think that we send our kids to die, and the olive tree is targeted because it takes 30 years to give you the first drop of oil. So it's a long relationship between the farmers and the olive tree that makes it sacred. And that's why keeping your olive trees for the Israelis is basically keeping existence in the land, which they want to prevent. They don't care about our almonds or figs or whatever. The olive tree represents us as Palestinians. And so I believe what people can do at the moment is to come to stand in solidarity with those little communities, whether in Ras Al Auja, Al Mu'arrajat, Masafir Yatta, to stand for them and be there as protective presence, or to come and actually work with local NGOs that are doing the same that are working for the same cause. It's not enough to go out in the streets. It's important to know whom you choose in your elections, and to come. Just break the silence, break the silence and come. Now you know what Israel is all about. It's a Zionist project that will keep on going, and the greater Israel will happen as long as we are silent about it. For those who believe in Jesus, Jesus was a rebellious person at his time, which stood against injustices, as well as what he said more than 100 times in the Bible, walk with me. So come and walk with us. I don't know, Ghassan, if you have anything to add.
I think for us, we need people to come, but also before they come, we need Palestinian program for the action, for the struggle, what the international need to do here exactly. The solidarity things is not just for picking olives or in the olives harvest. No, we have like 12 months. We can make a really program for everyone to make impact inside the Palestinian community, especially the when we're talking about Masafir Yatta or Al Mu'arrajat or Al Auja. This is the real challenge and real face there. I think without a program between the Palestinian people and the international people who's come here to solidarity, I don't think we can make impact because when we need to do the action or activity, we have to follow that, not just doing in one day and after that we forget about it and we start thinking about other things. No, we need the schedule, we need program, we need to know exactly why the international people here, and we need the education. The education also, how we can bring the international people to Palestine or to the villages especially, and make them feel they are part of this community, because this is like part of struggle also. I think we have to move one step for main program in West Bank with all the organization. For me, sorry, I didn't trust NGOs organization, but we need the people who's working the ground, the activists, to make a committee and bit schedule, bit program, try to bring the people here with main program, and also we need, as a Palestinian people, to be unit. Not everyone work alone. That's what we need. before we bring the international people, I think the Palestinian people, like the activists especially, we need like to be unit, and we have like one committee to make like the impact in the ground. Because without that, I don't think we can like make any impact in the ground. That's my opinion.
Thanks so much, both. And I think we've got enough time for one last question. Hannah, I know you've already kind of responded in writing, but do you maybe want to speak for a second to this? What was your experience of going to the conflict on the flotilla? Is the impact on you and your life?
Yeah, so I don't really feel like I went to the conflict because, I sailed across the Mediterranean, but we got kidnapped by the Israelis before, like when we were 50 miles off the coast of Gaza, and then I just spent time in Israeli custody, so I have no experience of anything in Palestine other than being under military guard. So my experience of sailing across the Med was the Israelis were making all kinds of crazy threats, which they didn't carry out because I think of the international, the international mobilisation, and I think it's all very well people mobilising because a bunch of hippies are sailing across the Mediterranean. I don't want to like downplay what we were doing. Do you know what I mean? But really, what Palestine needs is people to mobilise all the time, and to keep that momentum going, and things like the dock workers strike. The dock workers strike in Italy needs to happen across all the countries that are exporting arms to Israel, and so the boycotts and divest and movement needs to be really pushed. Do you know what I mean? And Israel needs to be isolated. The Zionist state needs to be isolated, across around the world, and nothing less than that will make a difference. People just need to galvanize and take action. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
So that's what's made a difference in my life is realizing how desperate things are and how important it is that we move ourselves. Whatever you can do, get up and do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally with you, Hannah. And actually, if you are supporting or donating for anything in Palestine, don't wait for it to be successful. But you just follow your heart. If you're supporting a community with a caravan or whatever, and the sectors might take it, just do it because your heart feels like it. This is what's called like steadfasting and basically supporting resilience. The only thing, Frieda, before I wrap up, that I disagree with Ghassan on is Palestinians are not fighting for their freedom. No. When you fight for something, you fight for something that you know of, you have experienced, you have lived, and then it was taken from you. This land has been occupied since the times of the pharaohs, including the Jesus time until today. We're not fighting for our freedom because we cannot fight for it because we have never experienced it. We are fighting for our basic human rights, which any solution can cover those aspects of responding to the needs of everyone that lives in this land, and then we can taste what freedom really means. So stand with the Palestinians and help them fight for their basic human rights, and don't hesitate to communicate with us. We have many ways and many people that we can connect you with, that you can make your life, like life path really helpful here for the people here that have been fighting for some rest.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm so sorry, but I think I have to wrap it up here because we only have like 2 minutes until the next webinar. But yeah, I really, really appreciate the time you've all taken this afternoon to speak to us. I think, yeah, really inspiring and heartbreaking, to be honest. But yeah, I will quickly put into the chat, or I think Elsa is already doing it, the different ways in which you can support Rev21, the organization that's supporting this, that's organizing this webinar series. And Saeed also put his contact details into the chat if you want to get in touch with him. So again, big round of thank you to all of you, Ghassan, Saeed, Hannah. Really, really inspiring, and hopefully see you again in better times for all of us. Thank you so much.
Like that, us on personal level, you'll have good times in Palestine.
Oh, that's good.
Free Palestine.
Okay.
Free Palestine. See
Take
you
care,
soon.
everyone. Bye-bye.